Hey, welcome back to Building a Castle from Sticks and Stones. This is Static again. Today we are talking about how life is like cooking, avoiding recipes for disaster. So how is life like cooking? In cooking, right, we have to gather ingredients, we have to take some steps, and then we get a result. Life is definitely like that. You have to take certain steps to get a certain result, but you have to know the result you want before you can take the steps to get it. So, for example, if we want to do something nice for somebody, right, and we're like excited about doing something nice, that's kind of like making chocolate chip cookies, right? But if we have intentions behind like doing something nice for somebody, well, you just added poison to the chocolate chip cookie dough recipe. Can't have bad intentions. When you put poison in chocolate chip cookie dough, the results don't end well. And the same thing goes for life. If you try to do something nice for somebody and it comes with a price tag or something or some ill intentions, and poisons do not go in chocolate chip cookie dough. So why do people do that? I'm not the psychologist, remember that. But, but in life, we have steps to take. And if we don't even know which direction we're going, how can you ever if you want to follow a recipe for success, how are you going to do that if you don't even know what it is that you're trying to accomplish? So once you decide what it is that you want to accomplish, now it's time to gather up your ingredients and take the steps. So it's kind of like, for example, someone who is planning on going to college and wants to study for a long time to become a doctor. Well, the steps that they're doing, their cooking is gonna last their family for years to come with all that hard work. But on a smaller scale, let's say you're just trying to make something happen real quick, a side gig or something. You threw something in the microwave. That's good. You got to eat. But, this is the funniest thing because I bring this up to my friends from time to time just to hear the responses. I'm like, hey, what are you cooking? And rest in peace to my friend Wedo, but he told me one time, he's like, oh, life is like cooking, huh? Okay, well, my girlfriend doesn't like my cooking. And I just laughed because he was saying his girlfriend doesn't like the results he'd be producing. That's pretty funny to me. And then I asked another guy one time, hey, so what are you cooking? After I explained to him how life is like cooking, he said, oh, I'm slaughtering a cow. And I said, oh, shoot, that's pretty good. You got to start from somewhere, right? You got to gather ingredients. You got to preheat the oven. You have to, then you can put it together and then produce a result. People ask me, well, what are you cooking? And my response is, I'm rebuilding my kitchen that I burnt down because I didn't like my ex-boyfriend's cooking. That's how I feel about it. So anyway, so how do we avoid recipes for disaster? That's a tough one. I'm probably the wrong person to ask, but or to even be talking about this. But I've learned a few things over the years, and how to avoid recipes for disaster. First things first is don't add poisons to whatever you're cooking. Poisons don't belong in food. Acetone has its place. It's a nail polish remover. It doesn't belong in chocolate chip cookie dough or any other recipe, for example. It doesn't belong in peanut butter cookies or cupcakes. So whatever it is you're trying to cook, even in a turkey dinner, don't put acetone in the turkey, right? So whatever your intentions are, you should always keep your conscience clear and your heart should always be in the right place, because the results, it could end badly. And it is true though, the road to hell is paved with good intentions, and there's some truth to that. But you want to keep your conscience clear. Just try to do the right thing and, follow the recipe. Whatever your recipe is, whatever you're trying to accomplish, just see it through. You got to have follow through. You could, if you start cooking, if you're making a recipe in your kitchen and you cut the vegetables and you leave your vegetables there for too long, what happens? They're going to rot. You don't want to cook with rotten vegetables either. You can't wait too long. But when you finally have, put your turkey together or whatnot, your dinner, you throw it in the oven. If you take it out too soon, you could get sick. So timing is everything in life. But yeah, so timing is definitely very, very important. Let me give you an example of follow through, okay, and building a recipe. So last year I was looking for a room to rent. So I'm looking at different houses and different rooms. There were houses with a pool, but they weren't by any stores or anything. And, I'm trying to get my life back together. So I'm like, okay, I need a place closer to stores because I don't have a car. So I looked at different houses and some of them were really nice. And but I was like, no, that's no good. No, those ingredients were no good for what I was trying to accomplish. And finally, when I found a room that was close to a store, close to a plaza, and I'm like, okay. I didn't care for the room too much, but I'm like, I could probably work with that. And so I did. That's exactly what happened. I got the room close to the plaza. I got a job at a store in the plaza, and yay, success. So that is just one example of follow through. And then you have to decide, okay, once you decide what you're trying to accomplish and what it is you're cooking, who are you cooking for? Are you cooking for yourself? Are you cooking for your family? Are you cooking for a date? What are you trying, who is it that you're cooking for? And that has a part to play in too, because you don't want, if you're in a position where you don't want to just think about yourself. Maybe you have a family you have to think about. Maybe you have a family you have to support. Maybe you have friends that you're trying to help out. Whatever the case may be, whatever you're trying to accomplish, just make sure that, hey, you have your intentions in the right place. Get all your ingredients together and follow through, and then enjoy. And, don't be afraid to share your cooking with others. It's true. You should always be aware of someone else's cooking just in case. But you know what? If someone says, hey, I made dinner, whatever, you want to come over and join me? Hey, I don't see why turn it down, and maybe you're the one doing the cooking and you're like, maybe you offer to someone else. It's okay to share like your cooking, can't be scared. You got to be confident. So whoever you choose, maybe you're choosing to invite friends over, or maybe, cooking is a healthy thing, as long as you're making a healthy meal and don't add poisons to the ingredients into your recipes, you should avoid recipes for disaster. One of my favorite recipes is chocolate cupcakes where the frosting is chocolate chip cookie dough, but without raw egg. And usually I would make those and then I pass them out to all my friends and everything, and everyone really likes them. And I'm like, oh, yay, because I'm trying to do something nice. And hey, I'm sharing my cooking, right? So that's a good thing. That's a positive thing. In life, it's best to stay positive, work towards something, always have a goal, and find a recipe. If you can't find a recipe, ask somebody else who's made that same thing before, and then find out how they made it. It's all about just working towards something and accomplishing, getting results. I am all about solutions and results, and I'm all about follow through, and I respect it when I see it in other people, and I definitely see it when other people are making recipes and they're adding poisons, and I'm like, oh, nope, can't indulge in their cooking, nope. So just be aware and always choose your ingredients wisely. Try not to add anger to your recipes. You add anger, it's like, whenever you're angry, it's like you're poisoning yourself. You're putting poison in your own food, hoping it'll kill somebody else. That's what anger does. So always be careful of what ingredients you're using. You don't want to add anger, or you don't want to add hatred, or you don't want to add jealousy to your recipes, because that is definitely recipes for disaster. It's not healthy for either person, or for yourself, or for somebody else. So you gotta add positive ingredients. You want to add things like sugar, like kindness and generosity, and you just want to watch your ingredients. So gather up your ingredients, everybody, and start cooking and share it with friends and family. And and that's a part of we're building our castle, right? And when you're building a castle, you have to eat. Every day you got to eat. So every day you should be trying to accomplish something, even though that can be hard if you have a spring malfunction. But hey, that's what we're working towards, right? We're getting past those things. But anyway, so enjoy, everybody, and have a nice night. See you next time.